Alex Carter stared at the small blinking light on a ship's control panel. 6 months alone in space made any change to routine interesting. The light meant his sensors had found something unusual on the large asteroid floating nearby. Alex hadn't seen anything except rocks and emptiness for weeks. His job as a terraforming scout was mostly boring. Fly around, take readings, mark good mining spots, and move on. He turned his small ship, the Wanderer, toward the asteroid. As he got closer, the readings became clearer. There was some kind of energy coming from inside the rock. That wasn't normal. Asteroids didn't make energy on their own. "Computer, scan again," Alex said, his voice sounding too loud in the quiet cabin. The computer beeped. Energy signature confirmed. Origin unknown. Not matching any human technology. Alex felt his heart beat faster. Not human technology? Out here, so far from any known alien territories? He should call this in right away. Company rules were clear. Report any unusual findings and wait for orders. But Alex was curious. And lonely. 6 months with only computer voices for company made real conversation seem like a distant dream. Another 6 months of the same stretched ahead of him. Surely he could check it out first and report. He guided the Wanderer to a flat area on the asteroid and landed carefully. The gravity was weak, but enough to walk in with his magnetic boots. Alex put on his spacesuit, checked his oxygen, and grabbed his tools and emergency kit, just in case. Activating exterior lock, he told the computer. "I'll be back within 2 hours." The airlock hissed open. Alex stepped onto the gray, dusty surface of the asteroid. His helmet lights cut through the darkness, showing a landscape of sharp rocks and deep shadows. He checked his scanner. The energy reading came from about half a mile away, where a large crack split the asteroid's surface. Alex walked slowly, careful with each step in the low gravity. One wrong move could send him floating away. The crack grew larger as he approached. It wasn't natural. Something had crashed here, cutting into the rock like a knife dot. At the edge of the crack, Alex shined his light down. The beam revealed smooth, curved walls that didn't match the rough asteroid. This was a tunnel made by something falling at high speed. At the bottom, about 50 feet down, his light caught something reflective. Using his suit's small jets, Alex lowered himself into the crack. As he descended, the walls changed from asteroid rock to something else. They became smoother, with strange patterns that seemed to glow faintly when his light touched them. At the bottom, Alex found himself standing in front of something impossible. A ship, but unlike any human vessel he'd ever seen. It was beautiful, with flowing lines that reminded him of ocean waves. The material wasn't metal, but something that seemed almost alive, with colors shifting beneath its surface. Now those colors were fading, pulsing weakly like a dying heartbeat. "What are you?" Alex whispered. The ship had been torn open by the crash. Through the gash in its side, Alex could see into a chamber that might have been the control room. His training told him to stop, take pictures, and report back. But something else pulled him forward. Inside, the air was breathable according to his suit sensors. Strange, since the asteroid had no atmosphere. The ship must be creating its own air. Carefully, Alex removed his helmet, taking a cautious breath. The air smelled sweet, like flowers. That's when he heard it. A soft sound, like someone trying to breathe through liquid. Alex moved deeper into the ship, following the sound. The walls seemed to react to his presence, lights dimming and brightening. As he passed Dot in what looked like the center of the ship, Alex found her. She lay on the floor, surrounded by a pool of glowing blue liquid. Her body was roughly human-shaped, 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head, but the similarities ended there. Her skin shimmered with colors that shifted like oil on water. Crystal-like structures grew from her shoulders, now cracked and dim. 4 eyes were set in a face that seemed too delicate to be real. Those eyes fluttered open as Alex approached. All 4 pupils widened in fear. She tried to move away from him, but couldn't. More blue liquid blood, Alex realized, flowed from a wound in her side. She made a sound that might have been words, but Alex couldn't understand. "I won't hurt you," he said, knowing she probably couldn't understand him either. Alex knelt beside her. His suit's medical scanner gave him nothing useful. It was programmed for human biology, not whatever she was. But he could see she was dying. The blue blood was spreading, and her breathing came in short, painful gasps. She reached out. One hand, long-fingered with skin that seemed almost transparent, and touched his arm. Images flooded Alex's mind. A beautiful world with 3 moons. Creatures like her walking among crystal towers. Then darkness, running, fear, the crash. When the vision ended, Alex understood. She was showing him her home, her life, a goodbye. "No," Alex said firmly. "I'm not letting you die." He opened his emergency kit. It had bandages, medicine, tools for treating human injuries. Would any of it work on her? He had no idea. But doing nothing meant watching her die. The alien's 4 eyes focused on him as he gently examined her wound. The blue blood seemed to be coming from 3 deep cuts on her side. Alex took out the wound sealant spray from his kit. It was designed to create an artificial skin over human injuries. On her, who knew? "This might hurt," he warned, though she couldn't understand his words. When he sprayed the wound, she made a high, keening sound that broke his heart. But the bleeding slowed. The spray formed a clear covering over the cuts. Alex checked his scanner. Again, her life signs were still fading. The wound might be sealed, but she needed more help than he could give her. He made a decision that broke every rule in his contract. Alex would take her to his ship. The Wanderer had better medical equipment. Life support systems he could maybe adjust for her needs. "I'm going to move you," he told her, miming lifting her up. She watched him with those strange eyes, then nodded slightly. She understood. As gently as he could, Alex lifted her. She weighed almost nothing in the low gravity. Her body was cool, against his and trembling. He could feel her heartbeats, 2 of them, beating in an odd rhythm against his chest. "Stay with me," he whispered as he carried her from the crashed ship. The journey back to his ship seemed to take forever. Each step had to be careful, deliberate. By the time they reached the Wanderer, the alien's eyes had closed again, and her breathing was shallow. The airlock opened automatically as they approached. "Computer, emergency medical protocols," Alex said as he carried her inside. "And contact company headquarters." "Communication systems ready," the computer replied. "Warning, unidentified life form detected. Quarantine protocols advised." Alex laid the alien carefully on his medical cot. "Override quarantine. Begin life. Support assistance." As the ship's systems hummed to life around them, Alex knew he had just changed everything. His mission, his career, possibly the relationship between humans and whoever she was, all of it transformed by this moment. Communications opened to company headquarters. The computer announced. Alex took a deep breath. How could he explain what he'd done, what he was about to do? The alien's 4 eyes opened again, meeting his gaze. One trembling hand reached for his. Alex took her hand and turned to the communication screen. "This is Scout Alex Carter," he said. "I found someone, and I'm going to save her life." The screen in front of Alex stayed blank. No answer from company headquarters. He tried again. "This is Scout Alex Carter requesting emergency assistance. I have found an injured alien life form. Repeat, I have found an injured alien. Please respond. Nothing. Just static. Alex checked the communication system. The signal was going out, but no one was answering. They were too far from the nearest relay station. It might be hours before his message reached anyone, and days before help could arrive. Alex looked at the alien on his medical cot. Her breathing was shallow, and the blue blood had soaked through the bandages he had applied. The wound sealant was helping, but not enough. She needed real medical care, not his basic first aid. Computer, analyze life form. Give me anything. You can. The scanner hummed as it passed over the alien's body. Life form shows similarities to carbon-based organisms. 2 hearts, 3-chamber lung system. Blood contains unknown elements. Body temperature significantly lower than human normal. Cellular structure unlike any in database. Alex ran his hands through his hair. The computer couldn't tell him how. To save her, no one could. He was alone, with an injured alien who would die without help. He remembered his training. First rule of emergency medicine: keep the patient stable until expert help arrives. But how could he keep stable someone whose biology he knew nothing about? The alien's eyes opened again. All 4 pupils fixed on him, filled with pain and something else. Understanding, maybe. One hand reached toward the ceiling, then made a sweeping motion. What are you trying to tell me? Alex asked. She repeated the gesture, more urgently. Then she pointed at herself, at her wound, and back at the ceiling. Your ship, Alex said. Something on your ship can help you. She nodded weakly. Alex stood up. Computer, maintain life support. I'm going back to the alien vessel. Warning. Protocol requires remaining with injured individuals, the computer said. Override protocol, Alex replied. She'll die if I don't go. He put his spacesuit back on and hurried to the airlock. Outside, the asteroid's surface was exactly as he had left it. Alex moved as fast as he dared in the low gravity, jumping over rocks and using his suit jets to speed his journey. When he reached the crashed ship again, he paused. What was he looking for? The alien hadn't been able to tell him exactly what would help her. He would have to search. Inside the ship, things had changed. The walls pulsed with dimmer light now, and parts of the interior seemed to be shutting down. Alex realized the ship itself might be dying along with its pilot. Where would medical supplies be? He wondered aloud. As if in response, a section of wall glowed brighter. Alex moved toward it, and a panel slid open. Inside was a room that looked like it might be a medical bay. Strange devices hung from the ceiling. Containers of colorful liquids lined the walls. Alex took pictures of everything with his suit camera. Computer, analyze images. Identify anything that might be medical equipment. After a moment, the computer responded. Analysis incomplete. Objects do not match known medical tools. Suggest caution. Alex cursed under his breath. He would have to guess. The alien had been wounded, bleeding. She would need something to stop the bleeding, to repair tissue. He examined the containers of liquid, looking for anything that might serve that purpose. One container held blue liquid that looked like the alien's blood. Another held a thick, gel-like substance that pulsed with its own light. A third contained small crystal objects that looked almost like seeds. Alex took all 3. He also grabbed what looked like a handheld device with a screen. It might be a medical scanner, or it might be something else entirely. He couldn't afford to leave anything behind that might help as he was leaving. Alex noticed a small object on what might have been a control panel. It was about the size of his palm, oval-shaped and glowing with a soft green light. Something told him to take this 2 back outside. Alex moved even faster. Every minute counted now. When he reached his ship, he was out of breath and sweating. Inside his suit, the alien looked worse. Her skin had lost most of its color, turning a dull gray. The crystal structures on her shoulders were almost completely dark now. "I brought things from your ship," Alex said, showing her what he had collected. Her eyes focused on the small oval device. She reached for it weakly. Alex placed it in her hand. Immediately, the device began to glow brighter. The alien held it against her chest, over one of her hearts. Color began to return to her skin, just slightly. "It's helping," Alex said. "What else? What about these?" He showed her the containers. She pointed to the one with the gel, then to her wound. Alex opened the container. The gel smelled sweet, like the air in her ship. Carefully, he removed the bandages he had applied. The wound looked bad, the edges turning a dark purple. He scooped some of the gel onto his fingers and gently applied it to the injury. The effect was immediate. The gel seemed to sink into her skin, and where it touched, the wound began to close. The alien made a sound, part pain, part relief. "It's working," Alex said, amazed. He applied more gel until the entire wound was covered. The alien pointed to the container with the crystal seeds next. "She mimed drinking. You need to eat these?" Alex asked. She nodded. Alex helped her sit up slightly. He placed one of the crystal seeds in her palm. She put it in her mouth and swallowed with difficulty. Then she lay back, exhausted by even this small effort. "Rest now," Alex said. "Let the medicine work." He scanned her again with his medical equipment. Her vital signs were stronger, though still weak by what he assumed would be her normal standards. The wound was closing, her skin regaining some of its shifting colors. Alex sat beside her, suddenly aware of how tired he was. He had been running on adrenaline since finding her. Now that she seemed stable, fatigue crashed over him. "Computer, alert me if her condition changes," he said. "Acknowledged. Subject's vital signs currently stabilizing." Alex leaned back in his chair, but didn't leave the medical bay. He watched the alien's chest rise and fall with her strange breathing. Pattern. Who was she? Where had she come from? Would she recover enough to tell him? He looked at the small device she held against her chest. It pulsed in time with her heartbeats, as if it was somehow connected to her. The technology was far beyond anything humans had developed. What else could her people do? Were they peaceful? Or would they be angry that he had found one of their kind? Questions crowded his mind, but Alex pushed them away. Right now, only one thing mattered: keeping her alive. Everything else would have to wait. As he drifted into an uneasy sleep, Alex's last thought was that he had broken every rule in the book today. His career was probably over, but looking at the alien, whose color was slowly returning as she breathed more easily, he couldn't bring himself to regret it. Some things were more important than rules. Some things were more important than career. Life, any life, was one of those things. Alex woke with a start. The medical bay was quiet, except for the soft beeping of monitors. He checked the time. He had slept for nearly 6 hours. Alarmed, he looked at the alien. She was awake. All 4 of her eyes watched him, more alert than before. Her skin had regained some of its shifting colors, now flowing between soft blues and greens. The wound on her side was completely closed, though a darker patch remained where it had been. "You're looking better," Alex said, sitting up. Straight. The alien tilted her head, clearly not understanding his words. She pointed to herself and made a musical sound that rose and fell like a song. "Is that your name?" Alex asked. She repeated the sound, then pointed at him with a questioning look. "Alex," he said, pointing to himself. "My name is Alex." The alien tried to say his name, but the sounds came out wrong, like Alex, with extra notes between the syllables. Still, it was close enough. Alex smiled. Well, it's nice to meet you, whatever your name is. He reached for his translator device. It was a simple tool designed to help scouts communicate with other human languages, not alien ones, but it might help. He turned it on and spoke into it. Hello, my name is Alex. I found you injured and brought you to my ship. The device recorded his words. He held it out to the alien. She stared at it curiously, then seemed to understand. She spoke into it, her voice making those musical sounds again. The device couldn't translate, of course, but it recorded her speech. Alex had an idea. He pointed to various objects in the room and named them. Chair, light, ship, medicine. Each time, the alien would respond with her own word. The translator recorded everything. After about 20 minutes of this, the device had enough samples of both languages to begin making simple connections. It wasn't true translation, but it was a start. Alex pointed to her again. What is your name? The translator struggled, then produced a rough approximation. Lyra. It wasn't her real name, just the closest human sound to her musical name. But it would do. Lyra, Alex repeated. Are you feeling better, Lyra? The translator worked on her response. Yes. You help. I live. Her grammar was broken, but the meaning was clear enough. Alex felt a wave of relief. She was recovering, and they could communicate. What happened to you? To your ship? He asked. Lyra's colors darkened, showing what Alex guessed was distress. Through the rough translator, she explained that she had been fleeing from something. Her ship was damaged in an attack. She had crashed on the asteroid while trying to hide. What attacked you? Alex asked. Lyra's response made little sense through the translator. Something about eaters and darkness between stars. Alex couldn't tell if these were literal threats or metaphors in her language. What was clear was that Lyra was afraid of whatever had attacked her, and worried it might find her again. She kept looking at the ship's viewports, as if expecting to see something outside. You're safe here, Alex assured her, though he wasn't sure that was true. His small scout ship wasn't designed for combat. If something had damaged Lyra's more advanced vessel, what chance did they have? Lyra tried to sit up. She was stronger now, but still weak. Alex helped her, supporting her back. Her skin felt cool to the touch and had a texture like smooth fabric. Through gestures and the crude translator, Lyra indicated she wanted to see her own ship. Alex explained that it was too far for her to walk in her condition. Instead, he showed her the images he had taken with his suit camera. Lyra's colors pulsed with what seemed like sadness as she looked at her damaged ship. She touched the screen, tracing the outline of the vessel Doublecoat's ship. Dying, the translator managed from her musical speech. Like me, connected. Alex didn't understand at first, but as Lyra explained more, he began to grasp an amazing concept. Her ship wasn't just a machine. It was partly alive, grown rather than built, and connected to its pilot in ways human technology had never achieved. Can we fix it? Alex asked. Lyra's colors shifted to a doubtful pattern. Need ... special things. Not here. She was right. They were far from anywhere that might have the materials needed to repair such advanced technology. Alex's mission had taken him to a remote sector, far from human outposts. My people will come looking for me eventually, Alex said. When I don't report in, they'll send a search team. How long? Lyra asked through the translator. Alex calculated. Maybe 3 weeks. If I miss 2 scheduled reports, they'll come looking. Lyra's colors darkened again. That was too long. Not for her, she was recovering, but for her ship. Without proper care, the living vessel would die completely. Must go. To ship, she insisted. Help it. Alex considered this. Lyra was still weak, but much stronger than before. And if her ship was partly alive, perhaps she knew how to help it survive, just as she was surviving. Tomorrow, he decided. If you're stronger tomorrow, I'll help you go to your ship. Lyra agreed to this. Compromise. She needed more rest before attempting such a journey anyway. As she settled back onto the medical cot, Lyra reached out and touched Alex's hand. A strange sensation passed between them, like a gentle electric current. Thank you, the translator conveyed. Why help me, not your kind? It was a good question. Alex had risked everything to save her, breaking rules and potentially endangering himself. Because you needed help, he said simply. On Earth, my world, many of us believe that all life is connected, that we have a duty to help each other, no matter our differences. The translator struggled with these concepts, but Lyra seemed to understand the feeling behind his words. Her color shifted to a warm golden hue that Alex hadn't seen before. Your people? Interesting, she said. Different from stories. Stories? You've heard of humans before. Lyra nodded. Old tailies, warnings. Humans ... dangerous, unpredictable. Alex laughed softly. Well, I can't argue with unpredictable. But we're not all dangerous. Lyra's colors pulsed in what might have been her version of laughter. You dangerous, break rules. But good dangerous. Alex smiled at that. Get some rest. Lyra, tomorrow we'll see your ship. As Lyra closed her eyes, Alex checked the ship's communications again. Still no response from company headquarters. His messages were going out, but either they weren't being received or no one was answering. That was strange. Protocol required acknowledgement of all transmissions, especially emergency ones. Unless something was blocking the signal, or ... Alex pushed the worrying thought away. One problem at a time. First, help Lyra recover fully. Then fix her ship, if possible. After that, they could figure out why no one was responding. He looked at the alien resting peacefully on his medical cot. Just days ago, his biggest concern had been collecting mineral samples and fighting boredom. Now he was caring for an injured alien, while possibly being hunted by whatever had attacked her ship. Life certainly had become more interesting. Whether that was good or bad remained to be seen. The next morning, Lyra was much stronger. Her colors flowed brightly across her skin, and all four of her eyes were clear and alert. She sat up without help when Alex entered the medical bay. Good morning, Alex said. You look better. The translator, which had been running all night to learn more of their languages, did a better job now. I feel stronger. We go to my ship today? Alex nodded. If you're ready. Can you stand? Lyra slid carefully off the medical cot. Her movements were graceful despite her weakness. She stood for a moment, testing her balance, then took a few steps. She was steady enough. I can walk, she said. Need to see ship. Alex helped her put on a modified spacesuit. It was too big for her slender frame, but it would protect her from the cold vacuum outside. The helmet was the biggest problem. Lyra's head was shaped differently, and the crystal structures on her shoulders got in the way. Eventually, they managed by padding the helmet with soft materials from the medical bay. Ready? Alex asked when they were both suited up. Lyra nodded inside her makeshift helmet. They went through the airlock together. Outside, on the asteroid's surface, Alex kept a supportive hand on Lyra's arm. The low gravity made walking easier. For her, but also more dangerous. One wrong step could send her floating away. Careful, Alex warned as they navigated around a large rock. It's not far now. Lyra moved slowly but steadily. As they approached the crack in the asteroid, she stopped. Her body tensed. What's wrong? Alex asked. Through the translator, Lyra explained that she sensed something. Her ship was in pain. The connection between them, weakened by distance and injury, was growing stronger as they got closer. They descended into the crack carefully. When they reached the bottom, Alex gasped. The alien ship looked worse than before. Parts of its surface had turned gray and lifeless. Other sections pulsed weakly with fading light. Lyra made a sound of distress and hurried forward, moving faster than Alex thought she could. He followed her into the damaged vessel. Inside, the changes were even more dramatic. Areas that had been lit now lay in darkness. The air smelled different, more metallic. Lyra went directly to what seemed to be the control room. She placed her hands on a panel that lit up at her touch. Musical sounds came from both Lyra and the ship, as if they were talking to each other. The translator couldn't make sense of it. This was a deeper communication, beyond words. After several minutes, Lyra turned to Alex. Her colors had dimmed with sadness. "Ship dying," she said. "Too much damage. Cannot fix here." Alex felt helpless. "I'm sorry. Is there anything we can do?" Lyra was quiet for a moment, thinking. Then she pointed to different parts of the ship. "Take these. Important. Save knowledge." She began removing crystal-like data storage devices from various panels. Alex helped her, carefully placing each. One in a bag he had brought. These might contain valuable information about Lyra's people, their technology, their worlds. As they worked, Lyra explained more about what had attacked her. The translator struggled with the concepts, but Alex began to understand. There was something moving through space, destroying everything it encountered. Not a natural disaster, but not exactly a living thing either. Lyra called it the swarm. Like machines, she said, but hunger like animals. Eat ships, planets, stars, growing always. Lyra had been on a mission to study this swarm, to find its weakness, but it had detected her and attacked. She barely escaped, her ship critically damaged in the process. "Now swarm knows I live," she said, her colors pulsing with fear. "We'll come looking. Find me, find you." Alex felt a chill. "How long do we have?" "Not know. Days maybe. Swarm not fast, but never stops." They needed to leave this asteroid to get as far away as possible. But how? Alex's small scout ship wasn't built for speed. It could never outrun something that had nearly caught Lyra's more advanced vessel. Lyra seemed to read his thoughts. "Need my ship parts. Make your ship faster." "You can do that? Combine our technologies?" "Maybe. Never done." "Worth trying." They gathered more components from the dying ship. Lyra selected only the most important pieces: power sources, navigation systems, and something she called a void jumper that might help them travel faster than Alex's engines allowed. As they were about to leave, Lyra stopped. She placed her hand on the wall of her ship and closed all four eyes. The ship pulsed once with light, as if responding to her touch. "A goodbye. Thank you, friend," she said softly to the ship. "Rest now." Alex didn't interrupt this moment. He understood what it meant to lose something precious. For Lyra, this ship had been more than a machine. It had been a companion. When she was ready, they left. The journey back to Alex's ship was slower, weighed down as they were with salvage technology. They had almost reached the Wanderer when Lyra suddenly froze. "What's wrong?" Alex asked. Lyra pointed up, beyond the asteroid, into the blackness of space. "Listen." Alex couldn't hear anything through his suit, but Lyra seemed to sense something. Her colors had gone almost completely white with fear. "Swarm coming," she said. "Closer." Then thought, "Feel them." "How long do we have?" Alex asked again, more urgently. "Hours only. Must hurry." They rushed the rest of the way to the Wanderer. Once inside, Lyra immediately began working. She spread the salvaged components on this floor of the cargo bay and examined Alex's ship systems. "Need tools," she said. "Show me yours." Alex brought his repair kit. The tools were designed for human technology, but Lyra adapted quickly. She showed Alex how to connect the alien power source to his engines. It was difficult, dangerous work. Several times, sparks flew as incompatible systems fought each other. "Will this really work?" Alex asked as they struggled to merge a crystal control node with his navigation computer. "Not no," Lyra admitted. "Never tried. Your technology, ... different. Simple but strong." Hours passed as they worked frantically. The ship's systems went down and came back up because Lyra made changes. Sometimes Alex understood what she was doing, but often her work was beyond his knowledge. He helped where he could and stayed out of the way when he couldn't. Finally, Lyra stepped back from the main control panel. New crystals glowed alongside human-made switches. The engines hummed with a different tone, higher and smoother than before. "Done," she said. "Best can do. Will it be enough?" Alex asked, "Can we outrun the swarm now?" Lyra's color shifted in a pattern Alex had come to recognize as uncertainty. "Maybe. Void jumper give good chance. But swarm very close now." As if to confirm her words, the ship's sensors began to beep urgently. Something was approaching the asteroid. Many somethings. Small objects moving incredibly fast. Alex looked at the sensor readings and felt his blood run cold. Hundreds of metallic objects, each about the size of his fist, were swarming toward them from all directions. The hunt had found them. "We need to leave now," Alex said, jumping into the pilot's seat. The sensor screen showed the small metal objects getting closer by the second. Lyra moved to stand beside him. "Yes, swarm scouts. Main body follows." Alex fired up the engines. They roared to life, louder and more powerful than before. The ship shook as it lifted off from the asteroid's surface. "Hold on," Alex warned as he pushed the throttle forward. The Wanderer shot away from the asteroid faster than it had ever moved before. The alien power source Lyra had installed made the engines twice as strong. But when Alex checked the sensors, again his heart sank. The swarm scouts were still following, and they were gaining. "They're too fast," he said. "We can't outrun them like this." Lyra pointed to a new crystal control on the panel. "Void jumper. Use now. How does it work?" "Push crystal. Think of place far away. Jump happens." It sounded too simple to be real, but Alex had no choice but to trust her. He placed his hand on the crystal. It was warm and seemed to pulse in time with his heartbeat. "Think of place," Lyra urged, clear in mind. Alex thought of a star system he had mapped months ago. It was empty, no planets, just a yellow star and dust. About 3 days' travel at normal speed. He pictured it as clearly as he could. "Got it," he said. "Push now." Alex pressed the crystal. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the ship lurched violently. The stars outside the viewport stretched into lines of light. Alex felt his body being pulled in all directions at once. Lyra grabbed his arm, her 4 eyes wide with fear or excitement or both. Then, as suddenly as it began, it stopped. The ship was floating peacefully. Outside the viewport was a yellow star, the exact one Alex had pictured. "It worked," he said in amazement. "We jumped." Lyra's colors flowed in bright patterns of relief. "Yes, good jump." "Very good for first time." Alex checked the sensors. No sign of the swarm. They had escaped, at least for now. "Will they be able to follow us?" he asked. "Not right away," Lyra said. "Need time to find trail, but will come. Always come." They had bought themselves time, but the danger wasn't over. Alex sent another message to company headquarters, explaining everything that had happened. Again, there was no response. Something's wrong, he told Lyra. My people should be answering. Either the messages aren't getting through, or swarm already there. Lyra finished his thought. It was a horrible idea, but it made sense. If the swarm was spreading through this part of space, it might have already reached human outposts. The silence could mean the worst. We need to warn Earth, Alex said. My homeworld. It's far from here, but if the swarm is moving that way. Lyra nodded. Yes, warn all peoples, my world too. They began working together, using the data Lyra had saved from her ship. She had been studying the swarm for months, tracking its movements, learning its weaknesses. If they could get this information to both their civilizations, perhaps they could find a way to stop it. Alex helped Lyra create a message beacon that could transmit to both human and alien frequencies. They loaded it with everything they knew about the swarm. While they worked, they talked. Alex told Lyra about Earth, about forests and oceans and cities. Lyra described her world, with its 3 moons and crystal towers that sang in the wind. Your people and mine, Lyra said, never met before. Now meet because of danger. Sometimes it takes a threat to bring people together, Alex said. But I'm glad we met, even under these circumstances. Lyra's colors shifted to that warm golden hue that Alex now recognized as affection. Me too. When the beacon was ready, they launched it into space. It would travel faster than any ship, carrying its warning to all who could hear. Now what? Alex asked. Keep moving, Lyra said. Find others. Make alliance against Swarm. It was a good plan. Together, they plotted a course that would take them toward the border between human space and what Lyra called the singing stars where her people lived. Before they could activate the Void Jumper again, the sensors beeped. Something was approaching. Alex tensed, expecting to see the swarm, but the readings were different. This was a single large object, moving fast, but not as fast as the swarm. Scouts, a ship, he said. But I don't recognize the design. Not human. Lyra looked at the sensor readings. Her colors pulsed with surprise. My people, rescue ship. Sure enough, the approaching vessel was similar to Lyra's crashed ship, but larger and undamaged. It slowed as it neared them, and a communication signal came through. Musical sounds filled the Wanderer's cabin. Lyra responded with her own song-like language. The translator couldn't keep up with the rapid exchange, but Alex could tell from Lyra's colors that she was excited and relieved. Finally, she turned to him. My people received distress call from my ship before crash. Came looking. Found beacon we just sent. Now here. That's wonderful, Alex said, genuinely happy for her. You can go home. Lyra's colors darkened slightly. Yes, but what about you? It was a good question. Alex's mission was over. He couldn't return to company space if the swarm was there. He had no way to know if Earth was safe, or if his messages had been received. I don't know, he admitted. I need to find other humans. Warn them if they don't already know. Lyra spoke to her people again in that musical language. The conversation went back and forth for several minutes. Finally, she turned back to Alex. My people say you come with us, she said. First human to visit our world. Help plan fight against Swarm. Then we help you find your people. It was an incredible offer. No human had ever visited an alien civilization before. If he accepted, Alex would make history, if he ever made it back to tell anyone. Are you sure? He asked. Your people have stories about humans being dangerous. Lyra touched his arm gently. Old stories, now new story. Human who save dying stranger, who risk everything to help. Better story. Alex smiled. When you put it that way, how can I refuse? They prepared the Wanderer to dock with the larger alien vessel. As they worked, Alex thought about how much had changed in just a few days. He had started out as a lonely scout doing a boring job. Now he was about to become the first human ambassador to an alien world, all because he couldn't leave a dying stranger to face death alone. Sometimes the biggest changes in history start with the smallest acts of kindness. Lyra stood beside him as the docking procedure began. Ready for new journey? Alex nodded. Ready. Whatever happens next, we face it together. The ships connected with a soft thud. Ahead lay a future neither of them could have imagined before they met. New worlds, new allies, and a great danger to face. But they would face it side by side, proof that even across the gulf of space, compassion could build bridges between the stars.